The S&P 500, the stock market in general, has had a very good past 2 weeks. Now, it's worth mentioning last week was Thanksgiving, and going into Thanksgiving week, the sentiment was low volume. Even for me, historically we went over it, you have very low volume. But I think there's a little bit of a different story when you look at the volume that's taken place from last week and even into this week, because there was this idea that we pumped during Thanksgiving week with low volume, retail, whatever, and then you're going to see a drop and a dump come out of Thanksgiving week going into December because there's all these issues. Now let's attack where we're at as a market, where we're going, and how we're going to be moving forward. Now, again, it's been a few days since I made one of the videos, especially going over the stock market. Again, we were banned because of YouTube. I do recommend, I'm going to tell you right now, if you want to get more information on what we're doing, how we're trading, Twitter is going to be the best source. Again, the link is down below, but I recommend leaving a comment here too and tagging @team at YouTube, because this most likely I'll probably get banned again. I don't know what I did. It said it was harmful content. I don't know what that means. So yeah, but anyways, all the setups are there as well, so check it out. But anyways, that's Twitter for you. And if you actually want to get access to what we're trading, how we're trading, the Discord link is down below for all of our trades, our swings. The biggest swing of the past day or two has been ASML, which is going crazy. But let's get back to the content now. Going specifically into SPY. A lot of what I've been tracking and talking about on Twitter has been all about the reaction that we had down here towards our support of 652 and 655. So I'm gonna do a little bit of a recap, okay? And the interesting thing here is going into Thanksgiving week, which is again when we had a lot of this buying, right? You can see Monday morning here, and then basically Monday of last week all the way into Friday, you had pretty much upside, just nonstop straight up. Now, I want to just go back and look at volume, giving you a for instance. Now, I will say the weeks leading up to Thanksgiving, volume was very high. We had the 21st was pretty damn high. It's worth mentioning, I want to highlight, you were getting pretty big breaks to the downside. And this, we'll go into why this is so key as well. But you can see your average volume, just scrolling through here, you have 87, 78, 57. I would put your average around 80 million. That's on the high end, personally. That's where I would stick us. You could say we're even down in the mid 70s, but we'll say 80 million in volume. Okay. So as that progresses, this is our day one, the 24th of that week. You have 80 million, which is in line with the expectations of average volume. 81 in line. This is the day before Thanksgiving, 72, basically. A little bit lower. And then obviously your half day, which is worth mentioning on the 28th, was 50. And that's pretty high for a half day. Just gonna say. Now we go into this week, and this is what everyone wanted to believe. And when you go look back at the data, I was like, oh, this wasn't that low volume. But when you look at this week, everyone was like, okay, we're gonna see selling, it's gonna happen, right? Pushing this fear agenda. 61 million, 62, and then we're at half of a day now, and it's literally at like 26. So really nothing crazy, right? That's to me, the interesting part is that you really didn't see that big of a change in general. If anything, it was pretty normal last week, and this week it's definitely slowed down. And, I always use this case as, guys, you need to be careful who you're following, why you're following them. But even with me, guys, I always recommend going back and trying to kind of question some of the stuff I say, like try to learn for yourself. But at the end of the day, in my opinion, when we look at what's been happening, you go back to my previous videos, it seems like what we were talking about was right. Like it was true, right? And so what's been going on? So everyone, we had this, what really caused the fear of the downside, okay? Again, let's go back to what started all this. We had the fear from the Fed being pushed out. We had this idea that the AI bubble was deteriorating and that, the Fed timing with this was bad. But you also had the idea that rate cuts weren't going to happen in December, which obviously these are up from 65% from last week to almost 90% this week of getting a 25 BPS cut in about a week and a half, 2 weeks, worth mentioning. And then we had to go look at something else, the Mag 7 combined revenue, right? What was happening from the data? And when you look at the data, it's so clear, right? We're still performing great. Companies are still making more money than ever. And you have to assume Q4 is going to be the best month of the year, right? If we go back and look, Q4, this is just Q3 right here. So we're probably going to finish the year strong like we were talking about. So everyone was pumping fear and this was all happening. It was clear that it was kind of just nonsense. And it's been even more clear that Trump will do and say just about anything to keep the market afloat, whether you like that or agree with it. That has to be a bullish thing to have out there as well. So that's where we're at right now. And again, we've been bouncing, finding buyers nonstop. Now, when you look at the chart as a whole, such as SPY, QQQ, whatever you're watching, okay, let's just start with SPY. We'll go into futures as well. Clearly holding back above. Again, this is your really big line in the sand level for me, is your October 10th, October 9th highs there. You're back well above that, trying to break back out. Once you break, 685, I think we're looking for all-time highs, but that's where you're at there on SPY. QQQ, I think it's a little bit slower, but it's still moving good. Back above that same level, October 9th, October 10th highs, clearly, and yet a break, a retest, and continue. I mean, it's picture perfect, right? And now you're trying to get above this local high right here from around November 12th, November 13th. That's what you're looking for. Above that, I think you're looking back into highs. You have a gap fill as well in the 631. That's an easy trade. If you want a quick trade idea, mark it down, put it on your computer or on a notepad, on a sticky note. Above 625, look for the gap fill into 631. You're welcome in advance. So again, what I'm looking for there. So really clear expectations where we're at. Now, again, you're going to see a lot more levels here on futures, but we'll just zoom out so you can see as well. Go to the daily chart. And as you can see here, very similar structure. And I think NASDAQ gives you, and futures give you a much better visual because you can see, like, hover that over there, like clearly breaking and retesting back here, right? Break, retest, continuation, what you love, what you want to see. ES cleared. I mean, to me, this is the real chart here is ES and Dow because they're leading right now. And look at how you're holding 68.12. You're high from October 9th, October 10th, breaking back up. And you've literally had almost 4 to 5 days of just retesting 68.12. I couldn't really be more bullish on the market for myself as I'm looking at it. I mean, this is just like taking candy from a baby at this right now. Maybe I'm getting too confident. We'll see. But as I'm looking at this, that's my expectation. You just look good. Okay. So again, I will say for the trading aspect, futures have been pretty solid. And I've even gotten more into the idea of holding some stuff overnight, which again, I wasn't really doing before. And again, as I said, we started remounting these levels, October 9th, 10th highs. You start getting more in that idea of like, okay, well, we're probably going to break back out. And we already know going into January, February, et cetera, that we're really going to start turning on the bull train because, again, you're going to have a new Fed chair mostly coming in. Trump already hinted at it yesterday. I posted on Twitter. Hassett, I think is his name. Hassett. I don't know how to pronounce his name, but whatever, right? We know he's very, very net bullish, and he's going to really try to cut rates as much as possible. He's literally in Trump's camp. So it's exactly that bullish idea we've been talking about, right? So again, as I look at the market, there's no reason for me at all here to be bearish, right? The big line in the sand, like I said, stay above October 9th, 10th highs. You look really good. That's where you start getting back in. And that's what we were talking about way down here. But you can go watch the videos. We were talking about it. That's what we're looking for, okay? Now, as far as in the market, what I like trading-wise, et cetera. I'm trying to pump videos out here on YouTube, but I'm really trying to push more and more actual like education and, I guess deep dives into stocks and stuff. And so you can get kind of inside my head when you watch these videos as well. I would have made a video most likely on ASML if I wasn't banned, but ASML, we talked about on December 1st, a few days before that. They're just in such a good spot, like having a monopoly on what's happening right now. And right now, when it comes to what I'm buying, what I'm trading, the videos that you're going to see me make on the channel, I'm going to just tell you right now. I said this in Discord earlier. So if you're in Discord, you might have saw this in trading chat. I'm very, very bullish. I think we've talked about this. I've been very clear about this, especially with how we're recovering. But ASML is a great example of things that I'm going to be looking to go long on. Like I like Nebius a lot. I like a VRT. I like Nvidia, right? But I don't want to say things are sure shots because I don't think anything's a sure shot. But I'm betting on the things that I think that like have the lowest % chance of failure or the fewest amount of headwinds. Like I don't want any, like I would like smooth sailing, right? Now I might miss out on other opportunities because I'm not buying dips aggressively on those, right? I might be buying stocks that are holding up at higher prices, but I'm buying things that I think have the lowest % chance of failure right now in my head, how I'm thinking, okay? So I'm willing to give up some reward to reduce my risk drastically. That's how I'm thinking, okay? Now, the good news on this side is that I personally believe that the next 6 months, I think 2026 is really set up for upside. Personal opinion. I think number one, AI, this next earnings that we're going to have for Q4, I think it's going to be great. I think it's going to be fantastic. Personal opinion. I think it's going to be just based off of previous data. We know Q4s typically are best performing as far as net revenue or combined revenue. So important to understand that for total revenues. I want to highlight that there first. But then the other side of this too is you have to understand that, again, once this Fed like transitions to the next team of the Fed, it is going to be rate cut after rate cut after rate cut. I do think we might slow down into January, maybe February, because we're going to slow down rate cuts until Powell's out of here. But that's where I'm thinking right now. So an example, I'm going to run through these names. So again, I'm be doing deep dives on all these stocks as well. Like you can go watch the channel already. I did one yesterday, I lit on Robinhood, so I'm not going to cover them. But I think like I want to wait for Robinhood to buy it. But like and I was telling Discord, you're remounting 130 here. I think mounting 130, this thing can get back into 140, 145 quick. What they're doing with prediction markets, major. I made a whole video on it, whole rant last night. Go watch it. Okay. So ASML, let's start with them. So ASML, and again, it's kind of wild because you just made all-time highs. So I was actually going long before we broke all-time highs, which is generally against my rule here of like I want to wait for a break and retest. But I kind of had a gut feeling that this was going to rip. And so, yeah, so ASML, again, they just broke their highs from last July from July 2024. So in my opinion, they're a big lagger. A little bit about them and what they do. Again, I have a lot of stuff on Twitter already about them, but they basically, I think they sold so far a total of 206 overall units or just 206 total products. That's really not a lot of shipments, but they're a leader in the space. They're making crazy money, around $9 billion a quarter. And they run a monopoly on what they're doing as far as designs. So worth mentioning. And again, it's finding those cherry picked areas that are now getting momentum, and they're getting a lot of momentum. So again, be watching ASML. I think you missed out the play here, but again, still pretty solid. Nebius, I've been very clear about this as well. Again, I think it's riskier. I've only been buying stock, but again, as long as you're above your previous highs of 2021, you look really, really solid. Getting above 100 and 101 and holding on a daily would be your confirmation of like, this is probably breaking back out. But I do like the data center plays. I just have to find, in my opinion, what the least risky name out there is for me. So that's what I've been doing. Is Nebius is the one that I like. You can trade some of the other ones. So there's some of them are doing really good. I think CoreWeave is bouncing pretty aggressively, but I think Nebius is my favorite play. So that's out there as well. And again, I'm really going over more of my aggressive plays right now. So VRT, this is for data center cooling. Again, I think I bought it around like 164. You're at 179, pushing towards 185 already. So pretty clutch. I think this is going to get back into 200. I didn't think it was going to do before year's end, but it's totally possible. One of the best names out there. NVT is a runner up if you're interested. So check them out as well. So those are probably like my three aggressive names so far. Another name out there is going to be Microsoft. I think Microsoft is very interesting. We were buying leaps in Discord down here at the 200 SMA and the 468 test. You held it really nice, potentially putting in a higher low here. Now this morning there was news that was released it was literally Bloomberg released. And basically it was that Microsoft cuts their AI sales quota. And then they came out an hour later and said, Microsoft has not lowered sales quotas from salespeople, so AI salespeople. So yeah, crazy. So you're seeing a dip and you haven't recovered yet. What you really want to see on Microsoft though is getting back above 492, 493. You get back above this, you look really good back towards 500, 511. I am a big fan of Microsoft. Definitely watching them. I think they're going to kill it. I don't have much to say about Google. You're just so high. It's not really a dip buying opportunity for me. It looks really good, looks really strong. I wouldn't be betting against it. That's for damn sure. One of my favorite plays right now also is CrowdStrike. Discord just heard me mention them today. I have not entered any position on this, but they had earnings, and I don't think their earnings were bad. I think they were pretty damn solid. Again, overall beat, which is what you love to see, what you want to see. Not crazy growth, but still getting good growth. You want to see above 517. Above 517, I'd be targeting this thing back towards 540 and then ultimately back into 553. 540 is just conservative. But again, above 517, you look really clean. Be careful in between 517 and 491. I'm not looking to get crazy there. When I see a mount, that's where I would get aggressive there for myself. Pan W in these, you're above the 200 SMA, which is nice, but I don't know. I'm more interested in CrowdStrike right now, but above the 200, you could see us back into 208. It's a pretty big level, so definitely watching that one as well. As far as downside is concerned, Netflix, I'd be watching Netflix very, very closely. You quite literally have no liquidity, no support down into basically $100 to $99. And where things get even crazier is you look at so this is also your level here. You have to understand 106.4. If you go to the 15-minute, you can see as well. You start holding below this little low here at around 103.3. I'd be looking for your breakdown towards 101 to 100. Definitely one of the weakest names in the market right now. One of the names I think that is high risk, high reward. I think it's Oracle. But I made a post as well on on Twitter. I'll show you that in a second. But as long as Oracle's above 198, I think you're looking for upside. Confirmation of upside to where you can get aggressive is above the 200 SMA. So far, you're just like rejecting there. So above the 200 SMA, you look really, really good. But going into what I posted about Oracle. So Oracle gets a bad rap right now because everything going on with their debt. And everyone's like, oh, they're taking on extreme debt over and over. And I'm like, guys, what are we talking about? So this is a better viewpoint of Oracle, in my opinion. And so the red represents long-term debt, blue is short-term, and then orange is total debt, which all you really need to look at is total debt, to be honest. But you can see as a company that number one, this goes the first box right here. This is 2016. So this is every year. So as a company, their total debt continues to rise every single year. My question is why weren't we concerned about this with Oracle previously, right? It's clear that their business model, and whether you like it, hate it, whatever, doesn't matter. Their business model is clearly based around long-term capital financing, right? Just clear as day. So again, is that good? Is it bad? Yeah, I don't think debt's great. Don't get me wrong, but like it's worked for them so far. If you weren't freaking out before, why are you freaking out now? That's my type of mentality. They're doing more of the same. I do think it's a crazy build up that they're doing for OpenAI. I think it's crazy, but worth mentioning. So I think Oracle here is really interesting. I'll definitely be making more videos over them. I think it's super high risk, super high reward though. So again, you literally were at high. I mean, you dropped 30, 40% here from 344 down to $200 basically. It's crazy. It's a big drop. It's over like 60%. So again, pretty insane of a drop, but where we're at, kind of what I'm looking at right there. So if you have any questions, comment down below. Let me know your thoughts. Twitter link, Discord links down below as well. Have a good one, traders. See you in the next video.